5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
Is this the same theme music? They've been using this shit for 2 years, man. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, but you know Neil, he's always fucking sleeping when he should be working. Yeah, he doesn't pass very much either, goddammit, motherfucker. Yeah. Happy Friday! I'm here to give you the gift of good cheer. And look, some music to dance around in funny hats. That is the excellent and talented Lawrence Juber, formerly of Paul McCartney's band. This guy can play. Hell with all that. Damn the torpedoes, we're going in. Technical fuckery to my left, the ocean to my right. The city has disappeared into the night. That's a poem worthy of Chaucer, isn't it? Or some dead guy like that, right? An old dead white guy. So today, speaking of old dead white guys, I usually try and start the day with some form of good news out there. And, you know, I can't find anything good, so I'm going to take a page from many old radio broadcasts where you just do the dead log, celebrity deaths that you haven't thought of in a while. So, did you recall Sandra Day O'Connor passed today? Henry Kissinger, amazing gentleman. I use that term loosely. He passed away last night. But in celebrity deaths today, I don't want to make... There's some people here I actually really like. Like Rosalind Carter passed away this week. Mr. Carter's a great president, and what can I say? Class act. In sad people we kind of dig, Jimmy Buffett passed away on this date. What the hell is this? This is not right. I've been spammed. What am I going to do with these? You imagine that, Mandy. I had to bring you on. This is just clusterfuckery.
Now what's going on?
I go on here, and I'm supposed to have all these celebrity deaths, and celebrity deaths from a year. So there's like tons of people on here. I could talk, like we got the lovely and talented Sinead O'Connor, died this year. It's really been a bad year, man. Tina Turner.
No, it has.
Pat Robertson. I don't know if that was good or bad. Sorry, Pat. I don't know. Didn't know the man. Let's see. Jerry Springer bit it last year. I wonder what he'll be written up in the history books.
I had a rough year. I must live under a rock.
I wonder if he even, like, if anybody knew he's been dead for a year. Like that's
what I mean. Like,
I didn't even know if he was alive before. It never just sort of got on the radar.
Like Weekend at Bernie's, except like it's been a dead Springer for the past decade.
He's been laying up in. They've got it's been one of those funeral homes in New Jersey where they just have him stashed in the basement, and then a year later they have 400 bodies. And then there was some creepy old guy who's like, you could tell he's like 80, he's under 100 years, and place has got flies about back. It's just like horrendous. At any rate, they find him. And Robert Blake, the still undetermined, did he kill his girlfriend or whatever she was? Robert Blake dropped his gun in the restaurant. Now, I can tell you, if that had been me and I dropped my gun in the restaurant, I wouldn't have dropped my gun in the restaurant. He had a good lawyer, got him off, but it just doesn't pass the sniff test. I think if you're out there watching while we go through this, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't really know what this story is. That's what I wanted to... I'm like, wait a second. You're talking about this guy's gun in his store, and I have no idea even what you're talking about.
Robert Blake was like a childhood... Okay, you're completely lost, so I'll just paint a beautiful picture for you. Robert Blake was like one of the Rascals, I believe. This is his first acting back in the 40s or whatever. And I don't know, he was Beretta. He had some fame in the 70s and 80s. A lot of people liked him. He probably made a lot of money. As he got older, he just kind of, he was just hanging around too much, not working enough. And I think he kind of was long in tooth and lonely. And so this chick who would run these schemes, like, she'd write these romance schemes. Before the internet was popular, she'd send nude pictures to guys, like soldiers overseas. and she's charging money. Well, somehow she leached onto him.
OnlyFans.
It's like a face sucker thing, some just like a tale from Deliverance, man. She got a hold of him somehow. Now, I'm not sure if this is the whole story because it may be missing some facts. Who knows? I maybe add a few facts as we go along. But it just sounded like National Enquirer material all the way. Some torrid thing at the old newsstand where he said, aliens run the presidency. Back in those days, little did we know that was actually true because that would explain a lot of politics the past few years.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so Celebrity Death Watch, I don't know if we're going to keep this. A lot of people on here, who the hell knew? It was a really bad year. Jeff Beck, there's no justice. I mean, here we are. I know
it's going to be increasingly so till we all bite it. I mean, I need to be that person.
I wonder who's going to be next.
From now on. That's how, I'm just saying.
You know what? I wonder who's next. Like, some people out there who, I don't know, we might not miss. I don't want to say it.
Craig says miss you. Hi, Craig.
What's up, Craig? How's it up in Seattle? Is it cold and foggy like it is here in the New York area? Or not foggy, just gray and funky and moist.
Funky!
Busted! Yeah, I was cranking up some James Brown earlier. I've got new headphones, so these aren't the new ones. These are just the crappy ones. Man, the drumming. The funky drumming, man, is just so cool in that shit. That's why some rap songs are better than others, because they stole all those samples from James Brown, man.
Fact. That's fact. I believe it.
That guy, he actually has sold his funky style of grooving to a sound company where you can buy some of his grooves and use them in tunes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're hot shit. I mean...
Yeah, I believe that. Good for
him. I'll say this, even as much as I love playing drums, if you're just cutting tracks for some songwriter and you want to get it done quick and they want to play some funky shit, man, I'll make beats. That was the first time I ever heard of doing sampling was like 20 years ago. And I got out of Full Sail and thought I knew everything about sampling in the world. Now it's all on a fucking iPad. Imagine that.
Now it's bananas. Yeah.
I mean, it's like there, you can run a movie. I've been editing the show on it, and it's amazing. But yeah, moving on, we've got the wonderful and talented Bill from Legion of Prague, peeps. And he's coming to you from his basement, and he's got a special show. No, I'm kidding. Welcome. I'm giving you a hell of an intro, man.
Hey, Bill.
Nice. Welcome, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
Excellent. We're always good when you're in the house.
Happy Friday.
Yeah. It's like family members just gathering around, go out, smoke a bone or whatever we do.
I mentioned before we start getting into band talk or anything like that, you talking about the celebrity deaths. The two that you didn't mention that really hit me hard over the last year were David Crosby and Christine McVie.
Oh, yeah. Both big time. And Christine McVie, boy, she's just such a sweetheart. Navigating Fleetwood Mac for all... I think she was like the only one who maintained any remote or of classness or class for the band at a certain point. She's like the only one who came out kind of unscathed. She was a nice person, and it was crazy.
She was hard too. I mean, she had trouble with alcohol, but she was
there was a big
regardless of it.
Yeah, it was one of those dysfunctional families that are all codependent, on the road, making piles of money, writing songs about each other, being snotty and snarky. Can you imagine all that money at stake? I mean, I've gotten agita from just things I've had to do in my life. Have 2 jobs in a band or whatever, and kids and life, And you think about that, there's like millions of bucks on your back, and you hate this person. You got to get up and play a song every night that you wrote with them. And then you're playing new songs that you wrote about what an asshole they are. I mean, Stevie and the guitar player, back and forth all the time. Nick, Buckingham. What a great player. God, just an excellent band after all their years.
They're amazing musicians, and I think that's really the one thing that held them together was that they had 3 great songwriters, 3 great singers in the band, and the band was just meant to be together despite all of the drama that happened behind the scenes.
Right.
Every time I hear Lindsay's song "Go Your Own Way," which obviously is about Stevie.
Yep.
I listened to his guitar solo at the end where he's hitting those power chords, And I'm just thinking he must be wanting to wring her neck right then, you know?
Yeah, he the subtitle of the song, the working title is Sweat Fuck. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
You know, it's like bless their heart in reverse now. That drama in the band, you know, nowadays it seems much more controlled because of all the tour accountants have gotten involved, and you got to sign it. You're not going to be like on substance abuse and, you know, big money, man. There's some big contracts involved these days. Even though the rock star being blasted out of your mind those days are, you know, really it just doesn't pay. If you want to play good, first off, and you know,
yeah.
I mean, what can I say? It's better. I mean, entertainment's much more. You can feel safer taking kids. Now I know that all of the people. I'm big. People do what you want. Take your kids if you want to go see Ice Cube and back in the day. Niggas with an Attitude. I mean, I love that band. I heard them from a 17-year-old kid riding in a van. We both worked at the same company, and I said, that shit is going to blow up. I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard anything like it before, but the first notes of that, when it went, and then poof, that kick, and then you know how it starts. I could sing it, but I won't. I could be accused of wearing blackface or indulging in blackface or cultural appropriation. Possible.
Yes.
We don't want any hate mail this week.
No, not from them, but Scientologists can always send all their hate mail right to Neve.
Oh, I'd get them on the show and we can deprogram them. You know?
Don't get me in this mess.
Listen, if they fell for the whole deal that they're going to give a shit pile of money to get clear, we ought to be able to rope them on in, man. I mean, just like, we're going to give them life extension, brain mind wave expansion. And I mean, all you got to do is peddle it on the internet these days. You get up here like the freaking deacon, you know, I'm going to light your beacon and see you speaking.
I've never understood what made people buy into Scientology unless they just had too much money burning a hole in their pocket.
It's like, almost like it's just a trend. It's like a club. It's like
talk about the worst kind of ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. You know, you find out they're a sino and they want to take you out there to Clearwater and get you tuned up. Do a little landscaping. I don't know what they did out in the basement. You know, I have no idea, but you know, they've got a lot of. You know what really turned me off of them was watching Tom Cruise jumping around on the sofa back in the 90s. I was like, you know, lay off the blower, stick on the decaf. You're supposed to be a Scientologist and all clear, man. You look like you're blasted out of your mind. Oprah was looking at him. I mean, what can I tell you? At that point,
maybe that's this. Cut to commercial now.
Cut to a commercial. And now from Rudco, we have the new massive 12-inch Steely Dan model, steam-powered. I will let you use your fervid imaginations to determine what I just said, people out there. We have children in the room. I'm probably at a mental age.
Steely Dan in terms of Hunter Thompson's original definition of what Steely Dan
was. Yes. Or actually, I believe it's William Burroughs, man, but you're close. Bing!
Right, I stand corrected.
But I love both authors, and that reference a lot of people don't know. That's what I liked about Steely Dan. They wrote songs with really grotesque lyrics that had a nice sweet melody and a hook on it. And so they were singing, like, comes to mind, slow down, I'll tell you when, I may never walk again, dum, 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 boom. Jody is a rare millionaire, I don't care. It's a hilarious song. The first time I did it.
It goes into interesting territory, too.
Oh, definitely. I love good lyrics like that, you know. I think that's why we were talking about Warren Zevon this morning, and I sometimes just like to listen to it because it's sinister music. The lyrics are hysterical, and they keep me amused. I mean, I was playing some of that music down south in Florida in like 1980, right when the record came out, and we played that song at a little bar on New Year's Eve. Sweet Home Alabama, play that Dead Band song. Turn those speakers up full blast, play it all night long.
Oh, boy.
And then the other thing, we bought, imagine this, in Florida, in Plant City, this little bar full of shit kickers, blood drains in the floor, a lot of cold Budweiser, a lot of attitude, a lot of sweat, a lot of pissed off rednecks couldn't get to their favorite cow last night, and they're just all sweaty and crazed. Well, we brought some black folks with us, and it did not go over well. They really were assholes. It went on for about a half hour when our friends showed up, and we're all partying, having a good time. And at some point around the break, right before midnight, all hell broke loose. And the gendarmes were called. You know, in today's world, we would be on the cover of Twitter, or we'd be like somewhere, this massive racial incident, you know. But basically, it was a bunch of drunk rednecks, and it just turned ugly. It always could happen out there in the world, but it's the power of words.
A few minutes ago about artists having to have their shit together when they go on stage.
Mm-hmm.
There's this wonderful thing called the internet now, where if you show up wasted and go on stage and don't put on a good show, people are going to know.
Oh yeah, they'll have drunk rock star takes up there. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
and for a lot of people, that might be what makes them too. That's what's hilarious nowadays.
You know, they'll put up anything. So you got to look at it this way. I'm not a TikTok guy, man. I go on there and I see example after example of why our country is so fucked. I'm just like looking at it going, they couldn't make a better poster for some change of some kind. Hopey changey things come and gone. I don't know what to say, but I don't know. I'm just hopey and changey that something gets different. I don't know, a little less fuckery up there, because if not, I'm going to have to run, man. I'm just telling you, this shit's getting out of hand. And I'll tell you this. I never thought I could run for president before, and I know I'm not ever going to get the chance, but I know I could do a better job than what we're doing right now.
You just should. You just should run. You mention it enough. For long enough that it's time.
I'm gonna have to get the bucks and get. You know, I'm telling them I got the fire in the belly and get tanned and fit. Got to keep all the media down low.
That sounds like work avoidance. Get your name on the ballot.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine though if you actually won?
Yeah.
It would be a great movie to have some mook actually win the presidency, because that is like, we're almost at that level now, aren't we? It's going to be like some kind of a.
Have you ever seen Idiocracy? That movie,
yeah, that's
Idiocracy?
what I was going to say. Yes, total Idiocracy. We're right
like
there.
Right there.
Yeah, it's a cross between Idiocracy and 1984, and you can throw a little Animal House too.
Yeah.
And for those of you who never read
both Animal Houses, the book and the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot about that. You know, you're right, because Friends don't let friends play folk music. Remember that? In Animal House, I love coming down the stairs, he just wails the guy because he's playing some god-awful folk music. Oh, I know my fans of you like folk music. I love you too, man. But God, it's the kind of stuff that makes me like just need 16th notes and 64th notes and lots of things making noise. I can't deal with it.
Totally impromptu, by the way. Stephen Bishop
really?
He was going to grab his guitar and smash it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was not pleased.
I saw Jeff Beck and Pete Townsend just kill it after drinking a bottle of Hennessy. When they sent the roadies to go tell him it's time to come on the show, the guy, flashlight's going to bring him out. Well, the promoter thought he'd given him this huge bottle, and when he went in there's only about that much less. So when he saw how much they were hammered, and they came out, and it's some of the best video on YouTube, man. They kicked fucking ass. Like, they did Won't Get Fooled Again, and it was wicked good. I mean, I really have to say, people who left in the past year, it was just about a year ago, almost to the month, and that last tour, he was just kicking ass. You'd have those dates with Vinnie Colaiuta, who's just like my favorite, or one of many favorites, but just such a class act, and yeah, he'll be missed. So Bill, tell me what's going on with you guys. You got some new gigs coming up. Tell us a little bit about Legion of Prague.
Sure. Well, I've been on the show before, but for people who aren't familiar, Legion of Prague is a progressive rock tribute band of sorts. We don't do the dress-up tribute stuff, but what we do is pay tribute to the entire 70s and 80s progressive rock era, where most tribute bands play music from one band or maybe one singer who went across several bands. We do a fair amount of just about everybody who was out there popular in the 70s, 80s doing this type of music. Mm-hmm. So when you come to a Legion of Prague show, you get some Yes, you get some Genesis, you get some King Crimson, you get some Rush, you get some Pink Floyd, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah. And that's why I dig you guys so much, because really that music's really hard to play for those of you in
it's a
the
great
civilian
mix.
ranks.
Yeah.
And you have to.
Yep.
I don't know about everybody's background, but I imagine with you guys, a lot of you knew these tunes since you were 14. Am I?
You're not exaggerating. I mean, the youngest guy in the band is 53.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest guy. I'm in my late 60s at this point.
Okay. Well, you're a spring chicken, man. You're going to come join the Neil Team Alpha, man. We're going to get pumped up. Yeah. Telling you, man, just having no neck pain. I feel like an old man who's going out dancing, you know. I'm just rock and rolling. But
You got your groove.
you're a young spring chicken, man. Are you married?
I am for 41 years.
Wow. You have
Oh,
done it.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's really great.
I mean, seriously, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, good for
I'm
you
going to have
guys.
to add up my various. No, I'm not going to go there. But we always have fun when you're on, Bill. The music that you guys play, the videos that I've seen of you are tremendous. I look forward to coming out and catching you at one of these gigs. Tell us about where are you going to play next. Where do you play next weekend?
Yep. Next Saturday, we are playing at Sweeney's Philly Special in downtown Philadelphia. Right. We're doing something that we typically haven't done in the past. Usually we've tried to avoid doing small shows or showcases because in one set it's kind of hard to get across what the band really does. But this is a venue that is something of a big deal in Philly. I mean, Sweeney's is sort of the Philadelphia equivalent to what the Stone Pony is in the Jersey Shore.
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
Under those circumstances, we said, we're not going to get paid a whole lot. It's only going to be one set, but let's do it. We'll have a promoter behind us. We'll hopefully have a decent room full of people, and we'll see where it takes us.
Are you changing up your stage set? Is it more unplugged in style, or are you just going to go in and tone it down a little bit for the?
We're going to tone it down a little bit. I mean, we're not going to do the epic length stuff. With one exception, one song we do, "And You and I," the Yes.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
It's become a signature song for us. We're playing that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd like. Do you do time as
the stuff we're going to play is like the 5-6 minute stuff to make it that it's a little bit more varied, so that people can hear what we're about and that we can do a fair amount of this music across the map, and hopefully it'll go well.
I'm sure it will. Do you play Yours Is No
awesome.
Disgrace? Oh, sorry.
We do not. That has been on our plate to play for a long time. I actually have learned the song pretty much verbatim, and I've known it now for a couple of years in anticipation of the fact that eventually we will.
Yeah, I love the Bill Bruford and Chris, what they're doing. It's all about it.
Yeah.
I heard that at
however,
young age.
We do Roundabout. We do Perpetual Change.
Yes.
We
Great
actually learned about 2/3 of Close to the Edge and then put it aside because we changed keyboard players in the middle of it.
Excellent. I tell you what, I'm going to end up going upstairs and cranking up all my prog music because now I'm getting going, these great bands. And it's really, we're all dying out. All the people who can play it are like half of them are kicking off. It's glad to me you wouldn't see a lot of this music in the future if we don't get some young folks. But
That's a fact. Because they
you
have
play
to
some
start
of this music-
practicing now.
Yeah, but if you play this stuff for the young kids who are trying to learn guitar or drums and they hear it, and if that clicks in their head, I mean, it's an education. Playing Yours Is No Disgrace, whatever you're playing in that song, you're going to listen to it a while. You're going to play along with it. You're going to listen to it. If you're lucky enough to have the music and you can sit and read it out, that's even better. But I think as you get older, tell me about it. You memorize stuff fairly quickly now? Still,
yeah. I mean, I can usually, even with a fairly complex song, I can usually get it under my belt to at least be somewhat competent with it in the space of a day or two.
What is your little bit of process there? Like when you're learning something new, do you like? I just go in and get the drum part because I know I'm going to play. I worry about writing out the lyrics while listening to a cassette deck. That way it gets imprinted into my head right away. By the time I've written it down and gone back, to verse by verse, I already have a brief chart going in my head, How do you do that bit of the process?
I try to approach it, I think probably in something of the same way. I mean, being a bass guitarist, a significant amount of what I do in a song is going to be repeated when we go either to the next chorus or to the bridge, whatever. So I tend to think in terms of phrases and riffs rather than in terms of songs, and think in terms of, okay, well, this phrase comes after this one, so I have to get this transition here.
Right.
And so when I learn a song, I tend to break it down into those chunks and put it together that way.
Right.
Whereas, on the internet these days, there between people who are performing songs and people who have written tabs, you can find pretty accurate transcriptions of songs out there. The question, though, is trying to figure out, number one, whether they've done it in a way that you can play it, because a guitar, of course, you have for most of the notes in the fretboard, there are 3 or 4 different places. So you
I was going to say, to try and write out the guitar parts and the keyboard parts, and there's some of the stuff is 2 keyboard players, and it's a wall of voodoo. I love that stuff.
Well, it really is. And for me, I mean, I'm not a very big guy, and my hands are on the smallish side, and bass guitar is a fairly long neck. So one of the things that you have to do is think tactically in terms of, can I play it the same way it was played on the record? Ideally, especially when you're playing prog, where people sometimes get very focused on, are they doing it just the way it was on the record? You want to try and play it accurately. In the absence of being able to do that, because in some cases you just can't, you then try to figure out
your own adjustments, if you will.
You have to get right.
Yeah. Well, it's what you pointed out is funny, because it's like, I just feel it in my head when you described it that way. It's like when I'm sitting there with the bass player, and you're horsing around trying to figure it out. And it's not that if you play it note for note perfect, it's that you find it where it's a really great, effective use of the rhythm part, because transitions. And if a person in the band learns all the signature stuff, I don't worry too much about. If you're playing with a good band, you respect everybody, and a little bit of improvisation. I'm not a real dictatorial guy about note for note as much as I am about playing with soul and groove and having a good time, and not, you never let the audience know if you have a flub. I firmly believe most of the people are there enjoying it, and they never notice. And if not, you just tell them it's jazz, because it's like Miles Davis said, it's not about the bad note you made, it's what you play afterwards or don't. So who on stage when you're playing, who's the guy up? Is it your singer who primarily runs what you do, or if there's any changes in flight? How does that work with you guys? What's your process on stage? How does the band work together?
It depends sometimes on what's going on from song to song. There are some songs that we learn where the vocals are a little bit more complex in terms of harmonies and so forth, and usually on those songs the singer takes charge.
Right.
Our singer Pat is an outstanding singer. He
absolutely
is classically trained and is able to break down harmonies for us, and literally he'll send us transcriptions of harmonies when we're learning a song. Bill, this is what you need to sing. Mike, this is what you need to sing.
Oh my God, that is priceless.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is priceless. Good Lord.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I think that begs the question that, in bands, it's good if everybody has kind of a specialty in addition to being in the band. People have skills that we've all learned in our lives that, if you have somebody, I used to do it with my horn player, we bring a couple more horn players. I'm like, go talk to Steve Grant. He learned from an old guy who came back from World War II. He'll tell you every minor modal. He'll know every note. And I'm just like, I'm here with the drum kit. Count it off and let's go. I know where I got to go. Most anything in modern music. But so how did the band start?
Oh, that's a real fun story. The band started with me and our guitar player playing in something of a pickup band in the neighborhood. We were playing with this band that was just getting together in Holmdel back 7 years ago. This band was, quite frankly, not very good. The guy who was running it out of his garage had just graduated from the School of Rock, and wanted to get in front of an audience as soon as possible. Didn't particularly care if we were playing the songs well. He just wanted to get a couple of sets together that we could get out.
Right.
And Mike, the guitar player, and I were a little bit more experienced. I didn't put myself in his league as far as my ability back then. Mike is an outstanding guitar player. He's been doing it for 40 odd years.
Right.
And there was one day that I was just noodling around because we were playing some 90s grunge that I wasn't particularly interested in, and there was a break between songs. And I started noodling around, and I started playing a Black Sabbath tune. And Mike turns to me and says, "So you like Sabbath, do you?"
Oh yeah.
Think of a friendship that's about 3 months later. We both had at this point gotten tired of this band and left. And Mike knew that I was a fan of progressive rock. He wasn't really that much of a fan of it himself. He was more an 80s guy. He was an Iron Maiden type player or so forth.
Right.
But he respected the prog rock band. And he and I had a lot of discussions about it. And he basically said, this might be something that'd be fun to try. As musicians, it would make a stretch. And that's always going to be good.
Yeah.
But there's nobody else really doing this out there.
Yeah.
It's hard to find the people, like 4 or 5 people who want to spend that much time together to get the music right, because it's not you really have to know what you're doing when you go in. I mean, it's like playing Frank Zappa tunes. I've spent years learning that stuff. And same with Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And I still steal stuff from all that prog, like when somebody begs for a drum solo. And it used to be I'd be a little tipsy. I'd be like, okay, I'll play one. But, I'd steal all these old drum solos like Carl Palmer's intros and Ainsley Dunbar and Zappa. I'm like, I'm stealing every lick I can get. Make me look good, But that process, I think, like your guitar player having 40 years of experience, it helps. And finding 5 guys like that who can stay together and don't have crazy life problems. You guys seem to have a bunch of normal people. That's good.
Well, at this point, we do. It hasn't always been that way in the 6 or so years that we've been together. We've had some personnel changes, and some of the personnel changes have been because people were kind of out there. I won't necessarily put our dirty laundry in public.
No, that's okay.
Did
Did anybody turn into Sid Barrett or anything really funky?
No, one of us did, however, become a major league cokehead.
I hate to see that. We're all too old for that. And you know why I could never do that crap? I mean, I've done it, but playing, it was not going to happen. No time, no rhythm. Gets so tense. I'm more of like sitting there, even when I'm playing Led Zeppelin or anything really high intensity, I'm playing it with some force. And if I was doing that stuff, I'd be all like jerky and gnaw on your lip. I mean, that's like no way to go through life, son. I mean, really.
Exactly. And it goes back yet again to what you were saying before about people being relatively sober and contained.
Right. Sorry, honey.
Music, you really have to be aware of what the other 4 people on stage are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And paying attention.
Anyway, but especially playing music like rock.
It would seem to me that there's certain eye cues that you guys are making when you're playing this stuff. Everybody knows where you're at because you've done it a bunch of times. But you're right, that learning process, if you're not paying attention, when I was younger, I would have gone, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball, and I'd throw my drumstick at him. that was my roadie's usual plan of attack. Ralph was our sound man and spiritual advisor. I gave him a job once to tell the band. I saw Chick Corea, and the producer was writing down everybody's flubs because it was the first night out on the tour. So I see that and thinking I'm really smart. I'm going to go back and give it to my sound man, Ralph, who loves dodgeball. And I'd give it to him, and I said, you tell us, what we do tonight, how we go. So we get on the first set, and we play through it. And it was such a shit show when we got done. He comes up and hands it to me. I'm like, give me this thing. And it starts out with me. It's like, Neil, you're fucking... I'm saying it in my mind. I'm reading it in my mind in his voice. Neil, you suck, man. You're fucking flat in the 3rd verse. Fucking just kill it. Your rhythm is erratic in the 3rd song, And then it goes down the list. And so I just took that thing. He went on to the next guy. He got halfway through my guitar player, and I just took the list, tore that up. I went, Ralph, let's go buy a beer. I took him all, and we went, and that was a bad idea in the whole history of bad ideas. Even though I appreciated candor. He didn't have the right personality to sell it to the guys. Like, I don't know how you sell it, but he was direct, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What do you got? Some questions to ask him, Mandy? Sitting there, I'm
all right.
talking like a man.
All right, let's talk like a man, Bill.
Talk like a man, girl.
Talk like a Bill. All right. Now, so far, out of all the venues you played, okay, with your band, right, what's your favorite? Do you have one? There's got to be one. You have a lot of stuff, like, spread out, Do you have one yet?
The one that I think is my favorite, and we've played there 3 times now, and each time has been better than the last, is Tim McLuhan's Supper Club down in Asbury Park.
Oh, yeah.
That
Nice.
is a wonderful place.
What a great venue. Yeah.
It's a great venue to play as far as the ambience there. The room is just about the right size. It fits about 150 or so people, so it's
Great.
Allows for a decent sized crowd, but keeps it intimate still.
Sure.
Nice.
They're very good as far as supporting the band with sound, whatever. They give us a drink tab, which we don't abuse too much.
Sure.
It's that there's just a lot of respect for the musicians there. Tim,
That's
Tim's
so
a class act.
important. That's
It really is.
important. Yeah.
I think him being a musician,
that matters. I think it matters a lot.
it matters a lot.
Yeah.
I just heard some stories about a place. It's over in West Jersey. It's some kind of private club.
You're talking about the Lizzie Rose Music Room?
I believe so. Have you ever encountered those guys?
They're in eastern New Jersey. They're near Long Beach Island. And and I've tried to get Legion in there, and I hope to sometime in the near future make that happen, because they've expressed interest. It just hasn't matched up on the calendar yet. But I've heard it's a wonderful place to play.
There's another club that I'm going to send you some info on. It's another club, and I'm just telling I always tell musicians if I hear good or bad things privately. And I say this for every business owner out there. I'm not going to get on and slag somebody's business because, the band could go through, they could have assholes and, upset the club owner. There's too many voices, and I'm not, as far as being Solomon, I don't want to hear it. Get out of my courtroom is basically the way I look at shit like that. But I also know that I've been taken advantage of, and I've heard about one club that I just have to mention it to my friends. Don't go there because they're bad juju. And sooner or later, the way they treat bands, there's a certain soul and essence to good clubs that last forever. Mothers up in North Jersey back in the day, all these big clubs that were around, it's not like that anymore. It's so damn different, but I think there's tons of money. I mean, like you guys, I could see you guys nationally touring, and I say that not some kissing butt. There's nothing out there that I've seen out doing that. So why not? I always believe in, rather than say you can't do it. I know you're not. I think you'd probably all be open to that. But I think a good manager out there he should be able to get you all the work you want.
The challenge about it is something you mentioned a little while ago, which is the fans for this music are getting older.
Right.
And so there aren't as many people out there who are able to come to the shows, or in some cases who are willing to spend the money that it costs to enjoy an evening out. In some cases, there are people who are on fixed income.
Absolutely.
You and I have had this discussion off air, I know. Where, there was one place that shall not be named, where the band played about a year or so ago and played a great show, filled the room, and the owner of the venue told me that he would not have us back. And I asked why. I said, we had a great night. I mean, you know that. He said, you had a great night. You brought people in. People didn't buy alcohol. I can't pay for a band that can't bring the money in for the venue.
Wow.
And
ouch. Did he pay you?
I think, as far as what the future of this band needs to be, a band like Legion is not a band that's going to survive playing clubs that are that small. I mean, we still do it in cases where we know the promoter or we know the audience, and we know we'll be well accepted. But a band like ours has to play cabarets or theaters, ultimately. It's not going to survive.
I also think you guys would do really good. The festivals along the Jersey Shore in the summertime, are banging. They're all agency jobs, but I could see you guys at like Freehold has a big concert every freaking month in the summer, every weekend.
Yep.
You'd be perfect for that. And there's nobody else out there. It's all blues. In fact, even though it's a great festival, my only criticism, they don't bring in like new cool young bands. It's all it's all guys our age playing, which is okay because old guys like us need to eat too, and can't be reproduced yet with a computer chip or an iPad. But anyway,
let's not talk about AI. Let's not go there.
Yeah, I won't. Actually, we're going to take a break real quick, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about all kinds of stuff. Mandy, think of something to ask. Yeah, you come up with a bunch of good questions. I'm speechless, and that doesn't happen very often. Oh, here's some Carlton Wilkinson for you.
There's some changes headed, like the Gulf Stream rising, like some gale that's been blowing off this wild bird island shore. And I can't say where, and I don't know when, but some old door's been opened in the restless shade.
And here we go!
Poor man sagging cigarette takes the subway home. Rich man folding old regret steps on the rundown.
All right.
Nice.
So, that was Carlton Wilkinson, peeps. He is a very, very good keyboard player, ethnomusicologist, just a generally smart cat, lives in Atlantic Highlands. And there's rumors that I will be playing some drums with him on his new, whatever he's got coming up. He said, when I get back after the first of the year, I'll have some demos for you. I said, great, let's rock and roll. I love it.
That'd be cool to hear, definitely.
Yeah, those two tracks are not, he's got such a wide variety of stuff, but it's all really kind of cool. I have my personal favorites, which he paid for the ad, so pick your ad. I gave him the man what he wants, but I'm gonna go ahead and make another ad for him just for free anyway, because you know what? I'm sick of listening to the same ad. Even if we just cut it shorter and put 2 more bits in there, it would soothe my boredom and hopefully get him some more sales. We'll see.
Well, that's what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Before we go on, I should mention, and I apologize for taking the rain away from you, but you had asked before we went to break about places that I've played that I really enjoyed. We haven't played there yet, but there's a place that we're going to be playing at later this month that I'm really looking forward to. On December 30th, Legion is playing at the Denellen Theater. In New Jersey.
Oh, that's in my neighborhood. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be there. That's awesome.
Oh, I'd love it if you could. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That is, we've not played there yet. This is our first time playing there, but I've seen several shows there, and I've gotten rather friendly with, Rob and Tracy Paulson, who are the promoters who manage the theater, and it's a really wonderful place. They go out of their way to find really good, talented bands from various different venues to play. They'll occasionally bring in national acts. Brother Kane, I think, played there last month.
Okay, cool.
They've had Nectar there. Nectar is a British band that is based in southern New Jersey these days.
Huh.
So,
very cool.
So they've
I'll have to check those guys out.
It's really a wonderful place. It's a relatively small theater, about 235 seats.
Oh, that sounds really cool. I love those places.
Yeah, it used to be a movie theater. I took my son there, because that's about 10 minutes from my house, not even,
Nice.
So, I remember when it was, the movie theater and the pizza place next door, and then you could have your dinner and while you're watching the movies. And
what was the date of that again?
It is Saturday, December 30th. It's the day before New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I like the
That's
sound of
gonna
that
be
a
a
lot.
great show.
Come on out, bring your friends.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
I think that's
they'll
well
be
in order. I
kick-ass.
think I can roust up a few of my friends to see a night of this. I'll be very persuasive.
Works
I'm
for me.
serious. I haven't been able to get to see these guys live. I've been trying for a while, but various life challenges come up sometimes.
Yeah, and I need to talk with you probably offline because one thing I've had in mind is that I should do a commercial with you for the show here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there are some things. I mean, you've seen some of the videos that
Mm-hmm.
are prepared for the band. It probably would be relatively easy between the two of us to get something together that works.
Absolutely. And I've seen what you've put together. You know what you're doing editing, and we'll just make it happen next week. We'll take a couple hours on a day and we'll have it done, and let it be written, let it be done. Oh, who's joining us here?
Yeah.
Let's go back and see in the comments. It's bad news clicking in again. Put the Malocchio on it, you know? So, I like you guys for a lot of reasons. Just the fact that you're out playing the music, I think, is really a cool thing, because it's just like playing it. It's not for the money. You can't pay to live in New Jersey on the money typically the bands make. I mean, it's been that way for a long time, unless you're Bon Jovi or Bruce. And there is money to be had, though, but it's hard to get. And I just love seeing bands that work their ass off to play good stuff, and they get work, and they get paid fairly. And I just read the thing today, and it's like one of those stories where you bum out because it's talking about why Spotify doesn't work as a model to make money on for us.
Yeah, it's
when
horrible.
you see it all laid out the way the guys at the top who are taking all the cash from,
they're
not really. Here's the problem. They've got this much of a pot of water. Every day, 2,000, 3,000 bands put new shit up. By the time they split that apple between the bands that bring in millions of hits, like Taylor Swift style hits, it's that many more, and it's all Taylor Swift. So for any of us who are out, you have to forge a way to make a living if you want to make your living at this. And it costs a lot of money. It's not like it used to be, very difficult. Hence, there's a dearth of great bands, like playing music like you guys do. It's like, I used to laugh at bands that did the 80s shows. But I'll tell you what, it's a great gig because you're playing some great fun music. If you're playing Van Halen and Loverboy and all that stuff, you have to have a great guitar player. And I don't know, I used to poke fun, but I think if you really want to play good music, it's one of the only ways to do it. The trick is finding these festivals where you have an agent or somebody who can. I wish I knew that person. If you're out there, please contact me. We'll bribe you. We'll do whatever. We'll send a sheep up to the Hilton for you.
No, I've got no problem with the 80s music of the style you're talking about. I mean, because
that's what we play. So I'm down with it.
Yeah,
and you guys do it well. I mean, I haven't gotten an opportunity to come out and see you live yet, but I've seen videos, and you do a tremendous job.
Definitely.
One of the things, that bothers me about the bands who are out there in this part of New Jersey who play that style of music is it's the same bands that have been doing it now, in some cases, for 35, 40 years.
And they're dialing it in.
Bill,
it's so
horrible.
lame. No passion.
I was talking to Bill about booking not like a little while ago. And that is the problem that Twisted Ginger has in a nutshell, is we are literally competing with bands who have been here 10 years, 15
Legacy
years,
bands.
20 years, 25 years, and there's so many. And like to get a booker to be like to for someone newer, they go with their old favorites, and you get whatever scraps you get it first.
Yeah, they tell you, look, if you sell 20 tickets, well,
it's dumb, and it's like for us, and I say that to the guys in the band, they're all great. Like everyone we've been around for a long time, but I keep reminding them, I'm like, for us as an entity, we're so new that it's like, that's what the market is. It's oversaturated.
It is.
And it's just like,
I think the only strategy is like for people of our age in the music business, like we're sitting talking about, playing the music that we kick ass at. I mean, you look at kids when they hear Led Zeppelin in headphones. I've seen a couple of those, and they just go, wow, what is that? Sort of like I did when I first heard it, Who doesn't love
that people are still having that reaction 50-odd years after the fact tells you something about that music. It's tremendous.
Yeah, it's, oh, God, in a three-piece band, essentially, Robert Plant sings, but essentially a power trio with a great singer, you know, and I love that shit. I mean, I love playing John Bonham, and when I was a young rascal, I loved playing Bonham. I was like, go animal mode, you know.
Oh, absolutely, I know.
It's Keith Moon, the same thing. I love playing Keith Moon, you know, all the roles. And we had a gig once where the bass drum was sliding off the front of the rider, or the riser rather, and my friend was cheering me on. The pedal broke, and I just kicked the shit out of the kick drum while he held it in place. We were keeping time, man, wailing on it. We got out of the song like 4 measures later. We were like, all right, and I didn't jump over the kit or pull any Moon shenanigans because I bought the drum set myself, so I was already kind of pissed that my pedal needed to be fucked with. And but life is fun. Rock and roll, that music it's great stuff. Eventually it'll be interesting. There'll be people, and I know there's some out there who sample Led Zeppelin and do whole big things. There is definitely a lot of creativity in some of that, but it's just not really my thing. I kind of like having human contact whenever possible, rather than just doing it all digitally. Like, I don't like using auto-tune.
No.
We could get in the room for 10 minutes and sing together and find the notes and play them and have it really sound good. It's worth that. I feel like such a slagger, man, because I know a lot of young bands, they want to auto-tune everything. I hate when I hear it used as an effect. It's like listening to the little gerbils or whatever the hell they were, back in the 60s.
The chipmunks.
Exactly.
You know?
Chipmunks. Yeah.
It's like, I hear a heavy rap tune and they come in with this.
Yeah.
Who produced this shit, you know? 2 Swedish guys. Are they culturally appropriating the black experience? I don't think so.
Culturally appropriating David Seville, to use Mandy's point.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, Mandy, going back to what you were saying about the booking situation, though, it's absolutely true because in Central Jersey and Jersey Shore, I mean, especially in the summer months, you're competing with the Nerds and Brian Kirk and the Moroccan Sheep Herders.
Yep.
All that ilk, and it's very, very hard to make things work. And
it is.
For us, I mean, we recognize that we were never going to be able to compete on that level with those bands. But even for us, you made the comment about you get the scraps. That's literally what we were.
But if you could pick up one of those gigs that they would typically be at, like over here at Sandy Hook in the summer, if you got one of those monthly concerts, I go to them and have gone to them. They're great. The only bitch about it is you gotta hote your gear out to the beach. It's a royal pain in the ass. But,
yes, you do.
It's work. But I was in Florida for my whole life, so I'm kind of used to that whole huff gear. You go find the pasty white singer that we'd have, and I'd be like, here, carry a monitor.
I'm a pasty white singer.
Yeah, but you're okay. This guy wore like spandex pants as a douchebag.
So you can.
Exactly.
I can get away with being the pasty white singer.
Yes. In fact, we don't want you out in the sun. That's bad for you. You'll end up getting all gnarly.
Comment about the booking, though, just to complete the story. We had taken a couple of gigs in places in South Jersey that, quite honestly, were not the nicest places to play. But it was a matter of getting out there to find people. And we happened to kind of stumble into a neighborhood in South Jersey, not far from Philadelphia, where it seems like all of the people who were really into prog rock back in the 70s and in the early 80s seem to have landed. Those people who are still left seem to have landed in this neighborhood, and they found us and we found them.
Very cool.
And 2 of the people in that group, 2 ladies, 50-somethings, I guess, went to one of the local promoters and said, "You have to book this band." And the guy went
That's the thing, fan engagement.
The promoter went to our website and said they can't possibly do what they claim they do. Nobody can play it well across the board. And our 2 fans, Laura and Cindy, said, no, you have to book them. Book them just once, and you'll find out. And so he did. He brought us into a club. Laura and Cindy basically filled it on our behalf. We didn't have to promote the show. They filled it.
That's the best thing. Super fan.
And the promoter was floored. He called me the following morning and said, "I was promoting 4 other shows the night last night when you played. I should have been stopping at all of them. I spent about an hour and a half, which is about an hour more than I intended, watching you guys last night because I was floored, because I wanted to see what you were going to do next."
Excellent. Excellent.
It's been
Beautiful.
booked up like 4 or 5 more times.
You know,
nice.
if people like the music and they know what goes into it, it's like for me, first time I met you, I saw you were playing over in Navasink here, which is just down the road from my house, and I was like, wow, these guys are really a good band. I started looking at your videos, and I don't know, we met up by happen chance at the studio in town.
Yes.
It's funny how life works out. Well, I'll see if I can get you at the Clam Fest next year. I was in the Lions Club for a few years, and I can get you
And Don's ear, definitely.
Yeah, I think you guys would be great there. And, you know, I like it because you can go do the gig and I can sweat in the sun and watch you. All right. Well, listen, everybody. We about closed it out. Mandy, what do you got going on? You doing anything exciting? You rehearsing? You playing? What's up for your weekend?
Yes, got rehearsal this weekend. Meeting with the Twisted Ginger guys tonight. We're gonna have some dinner at Fridays. Woo! And talk
on.
business.
Sounds like a band meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have some gigs coming up next week and the week after, so it'll be pretty kick-ass, you know?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, everybody, thank you for watching. Buy stuff from local bands, people. If you're out there,
Yes.
That's the best thing you can do for them. Hell with joining Spotify and all that. Just buy a CD, buy a T-shirt, buy some merch. That's what really bands need. They don't need, I'm going to try to get you next show. Let me know. Yeah, okay, I'll get there. And we're just let Leland say goodbye. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great weekend, Mandy. Bill, it's always a pleasure, man. And
Bye, Bill.
I'll get with you. We'll get a cool video for you guys. Something really nice. I like the idea. All right, everybody, we're out of here.